Welcome to the deep dive. We take the sources you send us, we dig in, and pull out the key insights so you can stay informed without, getting overwhelmed. Today we're diving into a really powerful article by Dr. George Gabla. It's called Reclaiming Ghana's Pavements for Pedestrian Safety. Now, when you think about road safety, usually your mind jumps to, well, the obvious stuff, right? Speeding, maybe drunk driving, that kind of thing. But what if one of the biggest dangers isn't actually the car, but the ground you're supposed to be walking on? Today we're looking at this often silent problem, but it's incredibly dangerous. It's what happens when the spaces literally designed for walking just disappear. And this is happening more than you might think, especially in cities growing really fast. It impacts daily life, safety, even the whole feel of a city. So our mission today, unpack the critical role pavements play, understand the challenges, especially in places like Ghana, like Dr. Gabla highlights, and then crucially explore some real practical solutions to make streets safer for anyone who's just trying to walk. Because this isn't just about concrete, it's about lives.
Yeah. Exactly. And what's so striking about Dr. Gable's work is how it shows these seemingly small things, a shop creeping onto the sidewalk, a garden spilling out a bit, or how they can actually snowball. They build up into these huge systemic problems with really life-threatening consequences for whole communities. So this deep dive, it really connects the dots, Between those little individual choices, the bigger picture of city planning, and ultimately public safety, it shows how lots of small decisions can really start to wear away at the fabric of a city.
Yeah, that fraying urban fabric is a good way to put it. Dr. Gabla really makes us look at this hidden crisis, what he found in Ghana. Well, it might sound specific to there, but honestly, it reflects problems in so many cities growing quickly. He paints this really clear picture of a worrying reality, his words, where public walkways just become dangerous obstacle courses. It's not abstract, it's everyday stuff. So let's unpack that reality a bit. Dr. Gabla gives some really vivid examples. First up, commercial takeovers. He talks about shops and kiosks literally just setting up shop on public walkways, especially on access roads, turning them into what he calls mini markets. Just picture trying to walk down a busy street and the path meant for you is crammed with stalls, goods piled up, people selling things, you're dodging stuff, weaving around, and meanwhile, traffic is zooming past just inches away. It's stressful and it's dangerous.
Totally. And it's not just businesses doing this.
Right, that's the other part. This sort of private land grab, as he puts it. In neighborhoods, you see homeowners converting the pavement right in front of their house into, say, private flower gardens or building walls that extend out. And look, a nice garden is great, but when it takes over the public walkway, well, it pushes people off that safe path.
And then that's where it stops being just an annoyance, right? It immediately becomes a life or death thing.
Yeah.
Because the direct result, the big picture here, is that the people who most need that safe space, think school kids walking home, elderly people, people with disabilities who need clear paths, they are literally forced to walk in the road, competing for space with cars, motorbikes, buses. And that just raises this fundamental question. What's going on when a city's own infrastructure, its design, actively pushes its most vulnerable people into danger? It basically puts all the risk onto the individual walker instead of providing the safe environment they should have a right to expect.
That's such a key point, shifting the burden of risk. And the safety impact is stark. Ghana already has, tragically, high numbers of road accidents. And a really big chunk of those involve pedestrians. So when you take away safe walking spaces, you're adding this constant daily layer of serious risk. It's not trivial. These are major hazards that cost lives. Every single time someone has to step off a blocked pavement into the street, they're basically rolling the dice. It's a gamble they shouldn't have to take.
Absolutely. It's a daily gamble.
And what really struck me in Dr. Gabla's article was how he framed pavements, not just as nice-to-haves or decorative bits, but as critical infrastructure. It made me really think about their basic job in a city. So when they get blocked or disappear, what does that actually mean for urban life? It's way more than just looks.
Oh, definitely. He highlights several core functions. First, obviously, pedestrian protection, that physical barrier between people walking and moving vehicles. It's fundamental. Second, they actually boost health and the environment. They encourage walking, which means less traffic congestion, cleaner air, more physical activity. Huge benefits there. Third, and this is crucial, they ensure accessibility. Think about people with disabilities, parents with strollers. They rely on clear, predictable paths. And finally, they add to urban order, structure. They make cities more functional, easier, and, frankly, more pleasant to navigate. So when you lose the pavements, you lose all of that. The whole system starts to break down.
So that fraying urban fabric we talked about, it's quite literal then. When pavements are blocked, all those benefits you just listed, gone. And it's not just pedestrians who become less safe. It actually makes things riskier for everyone on the road because now you've got people walking where drivers don't expect them. It creates unpredictable hazards for cars, bikes, everyone. It's like a domino effect of danger.
Exactly. It's a domino effect. And there are the knock-on costs, too, that maybe aren't immediately obvious. Think about emergency services. If an ambulance gets stuck in traffic made worse because pedestrians are in the road, that has a real cost. Or businesses. If an area isn't walkable, maybe people don't visit the local shops as much. That impacts the economy. Even property values could be affected if a neighborhood feels unsafe or hard to get around on foot. So the damage really ripples out.
That makes perfect sense. It shows how everything's connected in a city. Okay, so the problem is clear. It's serious. What about solutions? Thankfully, Dr. Gabala doesn't just diagnose the problem. He lays out a pretty comprehensive roadmap for fixing it. It's not one single thing, but a whole package of actions.
That's right. It's multifaceted. The first big one he points to is strict enforcement of planning laws. The local authorities in Ghana, they're called MMGAs, Metropolitan Municipal District Assemblies. They basically have to enforce the existing building and zoning rules. That means any illegal shop, any structure on a pavement needs to be removed, period. And crucially, he stresses, this needs to happen without political interference, which speaks volumes about the need for real political will to prioritize public safety over maybe individual interests or connections.
That political interference point sounds like a major hurdle in practice.
It often is, which ties into his second point, public education and community engagement. People need to really understand that pavements aren't just extra bits of private land. They are a public good for everyone. So education campaigns are needed to show the dangers, to highlight why clear walkways benefit the whole community. It's about changing mindsets, fostering that shared responsibility.
So making it something everyone cares about, not just the authorities.
Precisely. And third, he talks about designated commercial spaces. Look, informal trading is a huge part of the economy in Ghana, like many places. You can't just wish it away.
Right, that tension between informal economies and formal planning is a global challenge.
Exactly. So instead of trying to eliminate it, the idea is to organize it. Assemblies can create specific areas for vendors, but away from the main pedestrian walkways. That way, traders can still earn a living, do it safely, without blocking essential paths. It's smart planning that acknowledges reality.
Okay, what else? Enforcement, education, designated spaces.
Fourth, penalties.
Oh,
Real consequences for encroachment, fines, other legal actions for homeowners or businesses who block pavements, and for people who keep doing it. He suggests tougher measures, maybe even losing permits or facing court action. You need that deterrent.
makes sense. You need some teeth behind the rules.
Definitely. Fifth is about actively reclaiming and redesigning walkways. Where pavements are already gone or destroyed, MMDA shouldn't just clear them. They need to reconstruct them.
Yeah.
And importantly, build in features like bollards, or maybe some strategic planting, to physically prevent people from encroaching again. Make the fix last.
So proactive design to prevent future problems.
Exactly. Which leads to the final point. Collaboration with urban planners right from the start. Every single new road project has to include proper, clearly marked, accessible pedestrian paths, not as an add-on, but built into the core design. And the design itself should make encroachment harder. Build safety in from day one.
Okay, so that's a pretty solid roadmap. Enforcement, education, smart design, penalties. It sounds like a lot needs to happen. So what does this all mean for you listening right now in your own town or city? Dr. Gabala is really clear that this isn't just a government job. Yes, leadership and enforcement from the top are vital, but fixing this needs everyone involved, especially, as you mentioned, navigating that tricky political interference aspect. How does that get tackled?
Well, that's where the community engagement and education become so critical, isn't it?
Yeah.
If the public residents, traders, community groups really understand the stakes, the danger to their kids, their neighbors, themselves, they become a powerful voice demanding action. They can push back against political pressure that might try to let encroachment slide. It makes it less about just the government cracking down and more about the community demanding its right to safe public spaces. Which brings up that deeper question. Who really owns the responsibility for these pavements?
So it becomes the shared ownership then. That's what Dr. Gabala is saying. Residents, traders, drivers, community groups, everyone has a part to play. It needs this kind of societal shift where everyone respects these public spaces because they understand how vital they are for everyone's safety and well-being. It's about grassroots commitment alongside the official actions. And ultimately, like Dr. Gabala says so powerfully, this all boils down to one thing: protecting lives.
Absolutely. Protecting lives.
Just picture it again. A child maybe walking home from school having to step into a busy road because someone's garden is blocking the pavement. Or a parent with a stroller forced into the traffic lane because shops have spilled out across the entire walkway. These aren't just abstract ideas. These are real, immediate dangers people face every single day. It's not just inconvenient, it's potentially lethal. It's a stark reminder that how we design and manage our cities has a direct life and death impact. So our deep dive into Dr. George Gabla's work really shows us, I think, that real road safety has to start right there, at ground level, with safe, clear spaces for people to walk. It's about much more than just laws on paper. It's about a shared commitment, a collective understanding, and respect for public space and human life in our communities.
And if we zoom out just one last time, connecting it to that bigger picture, what really stands out is the true cost, the hidden cost of maybe individual convenience or someone's idea of beautification. When that directly cuts into shared public safety, what would it actually take for our communities, maybe your community, to genuinely prioritize people, every person walking over pavement profits or purely personal preferences? And maybe think about this. What kind of city do we end up with when the basic safety needs of its most vulnerable citizens get literally pushed to the side of the road? Something to think about until our next deep